We are so thrilled to have as a collaborative partner this year the PDN, Parenting with Disability Network. And to talk about this program, we have Wendy Porch and Rebecca Wood here today with us. So before we talk about the program, I would like for you two to talk to me about, or talk to us about your experiences as mothers or prospective mothers with a disability. So I would maybe ask you, Wendy, to start to tell us who you are.
Sure, thank you, Marjorie. As you said, my name is Wendy Porch. I'm the Executive Director at the Centre for Independent Living in Toronto, also known as CILT. And I am a parent with a disability. I'm a mom with a disability. And I love being a parent. I love it. And it has hands down been the best thing that I ever did in my life, was to become a mom. But I didn't know that that was ever going to be a possibility for me. I was born with my disability, so I'm missing part of my hand and most of my right arm. And I didn't know that I didn't think I was going to get married even. Not that you have to be married to be a parent, and I'm not saying that, but I used to say to my mom, like, can I even get married? Because I don't know where the ring's going to go. Is it possible for me to get married? So as a young person with a disability, as a young woman with a disability, I did not see examples of myself in either kind of what does a relationship look like, what does marriage look like, or what does being a mom with a disability look like. There still is nobody that looks quite like me that I've met, but there were no examples. So it was not something that I really even thought about until I met my husband. And we were together for 10 years before we decided that we wanted to try to have a kiddo, have a little baby. And, and then we did. And it's been fantastic, but there has been a lot of growth too, and a lot of parts of the journey that I could not have anticipated. And it's still, again, back to this lack of narrative and lack of visibility around parenting with a disability. So we're going to tell you a bit more about the Parents with Disabilities, Parenting with Disability Network at CILT. And that is amazing work that Rebecca does. But we need to have more visibility and more conversations like the one that we're having here today. So
yes. That part I agree. When I had my accident, it was the lack of representation, I think, that hit me the most. Mm-hmm. So I hear you about, being seen and being, to have a community and to create that community. And in that, I would ask Rebecca, so you call yourself, or you say you are a prospective parent. Do you want to tell us about that?
Sure. My name is Rebecca. I'm the coordinator of the Parenting with a Disability Network at the Centre for Independent Living in Toronto. And I call myself a prospective parent with a disability. I've been living with MS for 16 years. And my prior work experience and educational experience has all been working with children and families. Oh my goodness, for the last 20 years or so. So in all of my academic work, there was always a lot of discussion. I have a master's in early childhood studies, a lot of discussion about children with disabilities and how important it is to have parents involved in early childhood spaces. And there was never any discussion about parents with disabilities. So I bring sort of knowledge of those gaps from my educational background, and then my own, thinking about prospective parenting, what supports exist, where the gaps in supports are, and thinking about what it means to have an episodic disability, or a disability that is often invisible when engaging in parenting supports and parenting spaces. So part of what I do in my work at the PDN, I'm the person you will be talking to if you contact us. And I sort of use my background as a resource person and my knowledge of early childhood and parenting supports to sort of figure out how to navigate the lack of resources that are specific for parents with disabilities.
Yeah, you have a really, really important job. And I would say that your ability to connect is probably something that's very needed, and I wish, because the Parenting with Disability Network is in Toronto, right? And I wish there was like programs like these, throughout the world, really, because it's definitely needed. Before we talk specifically about the services or how you do and navigate sort of services that you could, send people to, maybe Wendy, you could tell us a little bit about the program and what CILT is and the context of how it started.
Sure, I'd be happy to. So CILT is an independent living center. We are a community-based resource center, and we work to provide disabled people, who we also refer to as consumers within the IL framework, with information so that they can live the life that they want to live. So we are devoted to empowerment, to choice, to control, to examining options, to providing the information to disabled folks so that they're in a position to be able to do that. I think as people with disabilities, we know that there is often a kind of protectionist attitude about us, and people would rather decide for us in many cases than let us decide. And fundamental to the independent living movement and to CILT is the reality that as disabled people, we are the experts in what we need. And we are the people who should be making choices about what works for us and what doesn't. So that's pretty fundamental to us. The Parenting with the Disabilities Network came about in about the late 80s or so. And like all of CILT's programs, it is in response to needs in the community. So we're just talking now about the fact that there is very little visibility in terms of parenting with a disability. There is even less in terms of formal supports for parents with disabilities. So CILT developed the PDN, and the PDN has been responsive to the needs of parents and prospective parents with disabilities for many years. And the programming is flexible and changes depending on what is emerging as needs within the community. And I think I'll just let Rebecca tell you a little bit more about that. But I can say for myself as a parent, when I was pregnant, I certainly reached out to the PDN for resources and for some supports as well around parenting and some of the questions I had. So I'll let Rebecca tell you more about the specifics of the services.
Great.
The PDN office.
So back to you, Rebecca.
Sure. So we are a resource referral and peer support program, and that's sort of the baseline of what we do. So parents, prospective parents, and service providers can all get in touch and find out. I will meet with folks one-on-one and talk about what supports they're looking for. Everything from, people call me to talk about what kind of carrier might work for me and my baby, and we talk through options. Or if you're looking for accessible earlier centers to go visit, or even just parents who are finishing up parental leave and trying to figure out, how am I going to manage work with accommodations and parenting? And so we can sit and have a conversation to talk through strategies and what might work. Right now, we have a lot of families with young children, so we do a monthly song and story time and discussion group in partnership with Vibrant Healthcare Alliance, where parents and their babies come and we sing songs. And then there's a peer support opportunity. And the feedback that I get from folks who participate in that group is that it's amazing to come to a space where you do not have to explain your disability, that someone can bring a question to the group like, what what can I do with my 3-year-old on days where my fatigue is extreme? And folks will have ideas and share strategies, and nobody's asking questions about somebody's illness or why the fatigue is there. Disability is just an acceptable part of the group, and you don't have to wonder when you're coming into that space. And then we plan workshops and events based on information that folks are looking for, and also fun events. So we've got an upcoming event for National Accessibility Week, where we're going to have the authors and illustrator of We Move Together, the children's book, come and do a reading and discussion. So on Saturday, June 4th at 11:30 online, we're going to have everybody log on, and both authors are parents with disabilities, so have a chance to celebrate both this amazing inclusive book and talk about parenting and have a bit more opportunity for that representation.
Yeah, you actually are the one who told me about this book, and I got my copy, and I think it's like a wonderful book. It's like super great. So I'm planning to be there on June 4th, because I think it's important also to sort of support one another in making sure that, you know, there is visibility and there's community that's created.
Mm-hmm.
I know that there will be sort of a space where we have all your contact information, so people can get in contact with you, and I'm sure, you know, either by email or social media accounts. I really want to thank the both of you for being here today and for talking about your experiences and the Parenting with Disability Network. It's very important conversation to have, as you mentioned, Wendy, at the beginning. So thank you so much.